Hi, and welcome to Make More Love, Not War. This is Terah Harrison, licensed professional counselor and relationship expert.
This is her husband, Jeff Harrison, of no qualifications whatsoever, just a normal dude.
Hello, and welcome to Make More Love, Not War. Today I have Amy with me, and y'all, I'm sure remember Amy because she has been on the show 3 times before, and we have been going through and I am working on being really good at pronouncing this, and so Amy might correct me. Hana'o Ponopono, which is a Hawaiian prayer, and it's a spiritual release. And we've been going through the tenets of that. And so, welcome, Amy. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me on your show again.
And Amy and I have a great synergy, so I'm really excited to talk to you today, Amy. And but I'd like to start off by you reminding us a little bit about this and what the 4 tenets are that we've been going through.
Okay, great. Again, this is old Hawaiian tradition where they have elders sit together in a circle, and people bring their issues to the group, and basically they get, I guess, counseled and to release and to basically feel better. And I learned that Ho'oponopono, the ponopono part means balance. So it's a Hawaiian word for everything to come back to balance. So there's very simple 4 statement. It's, I'm sorry, I forgive you, I love you, and thank you. So basically, everybody just sit around a circle, and the first they want to acknowledge your grievances. Say, the whole group acknowledge, what you have to go through, and then everybody, and other people say, "I'm sorry" to each other, and people say, "I forgive you" or "I forgive me," to one another, and at the end they say, "I love you" and "thank you." So it's very healing. And it's amazing those 4 simple statements can be so powerful.
Absolutely. Yes. And we have been going through all of them. We're on our 3rd now, which I've really been looking forward to, which is I love you. So we're talking about love today.
Yes. My favorite too.
Yes. I'm wearing my shirt. You can't see it through Zoom, but my favorite shirt says love is the answer. I love that.
Yes. And love is why.
And love is the question. Yeah.
Yes.
I love that too. See,
Know your
synergy.
why.
I'm talking
Love
about
is
synergy. Yeah.
Yes.
Love is the alpha and omega. So we could go on and on, I think, but I have an interesting story to tell. So this morning I was thinking about this podcast, and I sent Amy this poem that I really love about love by Kahlil Gibran, and it's in The Prophet, and he is my favorite poet and philosopher. And I was like, oh, this would be really great to read today and to talk about. So I sent it to her, and Amy wrote me back and said, I have chills right now because this morning at 8:30 I was practicing reading this because I wanted to read it today for the podcast, and I just thought that was amazing.
True story. Yeah, it's unreal.
Yeah. So again, the power of love brought us to both really find meaning in this poem. And so what we wanted to do today is Amy's going to read the poem, and then we're just going to talk about love.
Yes. Okay, this is On Love by Kahlil Gibran. When love beckons to you, follow him, though his ways are hard and steep. And when his wings enfold you, yield to him, though the sword hidden among his pinions may wound you. And when he speaks to you, believing him, though his voice may shatter your dreams as a north wind lay waste the garden. For even as love crowns you, so shall he crucify you. Even as he is for your growth, so is he for your pruning. Even as he ascend to your height and caress your tender as branches that quiver in the sun, so shall he descend to your roots and shake them in their clinging to the earth. Like sheaves of corn, he gathers you unto himself. He threshes you to make you naked. He sifts you to free you from your husks. He grinds you to the whiteness. He kneads you until you are pliant, and then he assigns you to his sacred fire that you may become sacred bread for God's sacred feast. All these things shall love do unto you, that you may know the secrets of your heart, and in that knowledge become a fragment of life's heart. But if in your fear you will seek only love's peace and love's pleasure, then it is better for you that you cover your nakedness and pass out of love's threshing floor into the seasonless world where you shall laugh, but not all of your laughter, and weep, but not all of your tears. Love gives not but itself and takes not but from itself. Love possesses not, nor would it be possessed. For love is sufficient unto love. When you love, you should not say, God is in my heart, but rather, I am in the heart of God. And think not you can direct the course of love, for love, if it finds you worthy, directs your course. Love has no other desire but to fulfill itself. But if you love and must need to have desires, let these be your desires. To melt and be like a running brook that sings its melody to the night. To know the pang of too much tenderness. To be wounded by your own understanding of love and to bleed willingly and joyfully. To wake at dawn with a winged heart and give thanks for another day of loving. To rest at noon hour and meditate love's ecstasy. To return home at eventide with gratitude, and then to sleep with a prayer for the beloved in your heart and a song of praise upon your lips. I know, it's gorgeous.
It's beautiful. It's overwhelming. It's like, where do you even start?
Yeah.
Are there pieces of this that really stand out to you, Amy?
Yeah, I think what stand out most to me is that, although we, love is hard a lot of times, but the experience of it, it's what I think helps us with our ascension and bring us to be naked in the body, mind, and soul in a way. You have so much mask on you a lot of times, but the true love, the unconditional love and unconditional acceptance is that, hey, I love you with your perfection and with imperfections. You are beautiful in your nakedness, even though, it's not perfect, but it's perfect to my eyes. It's almost like you seeing the other with the eyes of a beholder, the eyes of love. When you first fall in love with somebody, they can do no wrong, and they are so beautiful and so perfect in every which way. And yes, the romantic love sometimes fades, but but it gives us a taste what true love is. If somehow you can in your heart accept others unconditionally and love others unconditionally, then it's everlasting. It's like eternal. You can preserve that romantic love for, everything, everybody, every sentient and sentient being, every trees and moon and stars and flowers, and I think that's where you are most happy. It's heaven on earth, because you feel that love that is divine, that sustains all of us. So I think that's, literally the path to happiness and joy.
Yeah, and the thing that I really love about the poem too is that it recognizes that this path is not a path of golden bricks. It's not an easy path, love. And I think there is a misconception about love that we have from romantic notions of love, that love is, it should be easy, that there's not work involved in it. And if you're talking about things like accepting yourself and other people for all of ourselves, all of the beauty, but also the parts of us that aren't beautiful, then that's a lot of work, because it requires a lot of vulnerability.
Definitely. And it says to, you have to know the love, to know the pain of too much tenderness. And that is just, and to bleed willingly and joyfully. It's almost like you have to look within, you have to accept all your own pain and love yourself with our own imperfections before we can extend to others. If we judge ourselves, if I'm look in the mirror and say, oh, I'm to this and to that, how can you give others this love that, you share? And I think when people feel loved, I think I said this at the end of our last session. It came to me one day that we always think when we say, I love you, it's like, I love you. But many times is, I love myself in your eyes that you reflect who I am. So when I say, I love you, it's in ways, how if you have a wonderful person or friend and you can see your best self in his eyes or her eyes, and that makes you feel good because that's the best me, and you want to strive to be the best me possible. So that's encouragement for each other. You foster each other with that unconditional love. So when you say I love you, a lot of times it's like, you make me feel good because I see the good of me in your eyes. And we want to be that mirror for other people, but we cannot be that mirror for other people if we cannot be that mirror for ourselves.
Well, I think also a completeness of it is I can see the things about myself that I struggle with in you too, and I still love and accept you.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about emotional freedom technique, the tapping technique. And one of the things that I really love is when you start off with the tapping, and everyone, there's different techniques, but the one that I really like is I say, even though I feel afraid, I choose to love and accept myself. And you're tapping this, I choose to love and accept myself into your body. And when I've worked with that technique with clients, I choose to love and accept myself can be a really hard thing to be saying and also believing. Because it isn't, it's just, it's accepting and loving all the beauty and the feel good things that the other person brings to you, but it's also loving in some levels the pain of that, and knowing that there is pain associated with that. Not saying that love is pain, but there is pain in love. And that's okay.
Right. And I like the verse. It says, hey, if you just want to have easy way out, if you just want love's peace and love's pleasure, and then you don't know the full picture of the love, because you cannot, you laugh, but you do not laugh all the way, and you cry, you don't cry all the way. So it's almost, to know the love entirely, you almost have to be in the crest of that wave and in the depths of the wave. It's you have to experience those, and that is tremendous, because if you take the easy way out, sometimes you don't experience the fullness almost. So yes, I know sometimes love can be very painful, but on the flip side, the ecstasy is amazing.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm thinking of love versus fear, and being able to live in a place of seeking love and pleasure versus avoiding pain. And so if you like the poem is saying, the verse that you're talking about, if you're seeking love only for the pleasures, then you're really living in this place of avoiding pain versus fully living with love, which is a very brave thing to do, because
Yeah.
you're embracing all of it. You're instead of fighting the wave and running away from the wave, you're riding the wave, and there's a loss of control there.
Yes. And it's exactly that's what you said, control. And it's the letting go of control is scary. Yet when you do let go and just let the wave carry you, it is really amazing. But the fact that you let go that control, it's very difficult, very hard. It's like almost you jump out of the airplane, do your, skydive. That minute when you jump out, it's the scariest. Then you just feel so free. I never been to that, but that's what I heard, and I've never been skydiving, but that's what I heard. You just release and you let go, and then you find freedom, almost like that.
Yeah, and I'm thinking it's freedom and it's surrender. I'm thinking of the Beatles song. So I'm wearing my "Love is the Answer" shirt, and that's a line in the Beatles song. And then they also say love is surrender. You gotta let it go. I'm a terrible singer. My voice is a little growly right now from allergies. So don't worry, everybody. I'm not going to sing it. But love is surrender. Yeah.
It is. So, yeah. And the other thing is that I was, before I was thinking, the Greek have it much better in their words, because they have like 6 or 7 different words for different kind of love. And we are stuck with one word, love. I love my French fries. I love my Coke. I love my boyfriend, right? But it's very interesting. I looked it up, these words for love. And then I realized we actually have it pretty good, because love flows, and you don't want to compartment them in a way, because the whole point is that when you feel love for something, you can extend to another love. So the Greek words I printed out have, eros, everybody knows that's a sexual passion. And you have philia, which is deep friendship. You have ludus, that's mean playful love. And then you have agape love, so love for everyone. And you have pragma, is long-standing love. And you have philotia, is for the love of the self, which is very interesting. They are definitely philosophers. So they said the love of the self is very, way back when they already understand that. So I think for each of them, if you really know it, you can extend to others. There are people who, from Eros point, the sexual passion, like a twin flame soulmate connection, they know that divine love and extend to that. And there are people who, the friendship or the brotherly love, once they know that, and as mothers, knowing the motherly love, for me is that I was able to extend it to other kind of love, including the love for the self and the love for everyone, the agape love. So I think either way, the Greek way or the, American way are both good.
Yeah, and I like the point that you're making also around the idea of the interconnectedness of love, that there is sort of an idea of like that I hear a lot from people who are wanting to heal from past relationships and get into new ones, or they're in a relationship and they know they have wounds, and there's this idea, well, I'm not going to really be ready to be in relation to others and really love unless I get myself all fixed. I have to heal before I can really love someone else. And that's not true, because you can heal in relation to others. And as you're loved by someone, say, I don't know passionate love. I've never known passionate love, but I'm with someone that knows that. And that partner teaches me that. Now I know it and I can extend it to others, just like you said. I don't have to already come with that to be able to learn it and be able to embrace that. And all of those different types of love are healing of wounds that we have where we haven't experienced that love.
Right, exactly. Because, when two people come together, they have different perspectives, and they can, that's why sometimes in a very good relationship, they foster each other, and you can learn from each other, and you can actually heal each other. But, at the same time, we cannot expect others to heal us. That's actually the, cherry on top, right?
Yeah.
We have to take our own responsibility and to heal ourselves instead of looking for someone to complete us or, heal us, because then you become dependent on that person, and almost you're putting the responsibility belong to you to some others. But when two people really come together, each of them doing their own work of healing themselves, and a lot of times that synergy that you can share, it's 1 + 1 not equal to 2, 1 + 1 probably equal to 10, right?
Yeah, that we were talking about last podcast. Listen to that one. Yeah. And I think what we're talking about here is the difference between interdependence versus codependence. So codependence is I am me and you are me, and I need you to heal me, and I cannot be healed without you.
Right.
Versus interdependence, which is I am me and you are you, and then there's also a we, and there can be healing within all of those, the you, the me, and the we. But I think a lot of times we get confused between codependence and interdependence, and so that's an important point to bring up, is that interdependence is very healthy, and that is that synergy that you're talking about. But you understand that there is a separateness.
Yes. Since you mentioned that, actually, the next chapter on the prophet is talking about marriage, and that's the one I really like. Just click in what you're saying. So I'm just going to read a couple of paragraphs for the marriage. So it says, "Love one another, but make not a bond of love. Let it rather be a moving sea between the shores of your souls. Fill each other's cup, but drink not from one cup. Give one another your bread, but eat not from the same loaf. Sing and dance together and be joyous, but let each one of you be alone. Even as the strings of the lute are alone, though they quiver with the same music. Give your hearts, but not into each other's keeping, for only the hand of life can contain your hearts. And stand together, yet not too near together, for the pillars of the temple stand apart, and the oak tree and cypress grow not in each other's shadow." So when you look at two trees, if they are too close together, the part they shadow each other has the least growth, right? But if you have two trees, you grow in your each way, but you support each other. You almost kind of, it's like the ocean wave. But you are strong, you're independent by each other, but you actually provide little shade but not overshadow each other. So I thought that was amazing. And I guess synchrodestiny, I was listening to YouTube. Actually, John Gray, do you know John Gray, the man who wrote Men from Mars and Women from Venus? He was actually giving a podcast or interview on how the hormones affect men and women and their relationship, especially during the quarantine times, because we're stuck home with our spouses. And he was telling, it's very interesting. If you don't mind, I will share some ideas that he gave.
Of course, go ahead. Yeah.
So he was saying humans have two needs. So the first one is need for connection. The second is need for separation, just like what I just read from the poem. So he was saying 80% our fulfillment should come out what we do separately. And then interdependence. the 20% would be the interdependence. And it's giving and receiving, but we have to give to ourselves, which is 80%, before we can give to others. So when the 80%, he was talking about like hobby and doing something that make you feel good, feel, you are achieving things. So then he said, the biochemistry between women and men are very different. For men, testosterone, of course, is what get people feel affectionate for men. And for women, it's estrogen that makes women feel affectionate and feel intimacy. And whatever the research showing that under stress, the fight and flight, the tendency, then testosterone, very interesting, will turn into estrogen. So if man is stressed, the testosterone will turn into estrogen, and that makes them feel powerless, emotional, irritable, and depressed. That's how it works in man. So when men have to feel romantic, they have to increase the testosterone by 2 times. So how do men increase their testosterone? Is to solve a problem that they feel capable of solving. So that's why in relationships, when you go to a man with a problem, the first thing he wants to do is solve your problem, because that increases his testosterone, make him feel powerful and good, right? Mm-hmm. And so for us women, we need estrogen for us to feel romantic. And so how do we increase estrogen? So estrogen rises when women feel safe, and then they feel they can't depend on someone. So, and it is a precursor is oxytocin, when you have a baby, and that's a feeling good hormone, oxytocin. So oxytocin relaxes you and make you feel secure. So, John Gray noted that estrogen rises when women feel safe, and also to stimulate estrogen is to by physical touch, but not in a sexual way. So that kind of explains a lot, because women need to feel, number one, they want to feel safe, and they actually, what he said is we need to go to the part of me and say, hey, this is what I need, recognize what I need within. And then we want to communicate our needs to our partners. And this communication is not blame or criticize, not say, hey, you didn't do that, but, make him feel like he can solve this problem. Wouldn't that be nice if you make me feel so great if you do such and such? So, he feel like he's contributing, that, you are enough. He is enough for you. And the other one is to then, after women express themselves, then, they can ask their partners to, like hold their hand or caress them, not having a goal in mind, but, in a non-sexual way. That'll increase oxytocin. That'll make women feel more intimacy, and then more romantic. And then, of course, they can merge together. So I love the way they say for women, even you can talk to your girlfriends. That'll increase your estrogen to be heard. And also you can share your emotions, that increases estrogen. And also if you learn something new, because when you learn something new, it also increases estrogen. So, and for man, the testosterone is increased by being able to solve a problem that it's able to be solved. So if a man approach a problem, if a woman give a man a problem that he cannot solve, then the testosterone is going to turn into estrogen, where he will feel powerless. Mm-hmm. So you want to give him a problem that he's capable of solving. That'll boost his testosterone. So it's really very interesting dynamic. And John Gray was saying that a lot of times if women talk, how they communicate to man about what they need is very important, because if you communicate to them to a wrong way, the man will think, quote unquote, nothing I can do can make her happy. That decreases the testosterone, you know. But if you make him feel like a Superman, you know, hey, you know, I have this problem and, you know, can you help me solve it? And something that he can do, then that increases. But that doesn't mean women should be, you know, not independent or anything like that. It just all it's saying is that women can also solve their own problems, right? But when we have, let's say we solve problem for our kids, but when that increase our testosterone. However, when the kids smile back and hug you, that increase your estrogen. So it's all about the balance. So when women, you know, solve a problem that increase their testosterone, but if you're in a group of people, and they talk to each other, they support each other, that increase your estrogen. So it's not either, it's a balance. So men also need some estrogen, you know, when they feel loved and, you know, all that, but they also need a little bit more, much more testosterone than women. So it's very interesting to see how that convert. And so we do need our own separate hobbies and space and, you know, groups to be independent. Then when we come together, being interdependent, that's very fruitful. So that was really cool to think of that way, you know?
Yeah. So there's a couple things I'd like to add to that, which is, so one of the things you're talking about is in Gottman terms is the softened startup. So you're talking about how we can communicate to each other in ways that are not critical, and ways that you're giving somebody an opportunity to take action. And so that's the softened startup. So just, and really thinking about, okay, and if you have a thought, a feeling, that is critical, like, oh, he's so lazy, blah, 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 or whatever, right? I mean, because or she's so lazy, whatever. We all think of these things. Really, what's under a criticism is a wish. It's a need. There's a desire there. So if you can, like you were saying, give yourself the time to have that self-reflection and to really ask yourself, when I'm thinking a critical thought, what is my need under that? And then be able to lead with that, as you're saying. That's really powerful, because for one thing, you're giving yourself the opportunity to receive something versus shutting that down and saying, oh, you know, he or she just really doesn't care about me. And so I'm just going to have to do this myself, whatever. Like the other day, this little thing, but like I was all stressed out running around and I realized I didn't have time to feed the dog. And so I just said, oh, Jeff, I don't have time to feed the dog, you know, and will you please feed the dog for me? And he did it, and I got some estrogen from that, and he got some testosterone from that. And my other option could have been that I, instead of getting the thing I needed done for myself, went ahead and fed the dog and felt resentful about Jeff because I had an unspoken need, and then that later came out as some sort of criticism.
Yeah, we do that, right?
Right, we do. As
super women, and then we get all mad because, you know, they should read our songs, right?
But the thing is, I've been really working on this, you know, on, as Brené Brown calls, wholeheartedness, and I call leading with love. So anytime I get that kind of feeling, like a criticism or something negative about somebody, I've really been focusing on turning that inward and understanding what is my wish, what is my dream here, what is going on within me, and then being able to give the other person the opportunity to love me. And and so that's what we're talking about, that 80% and that 20%, because you have to have that 80% where you're really working on things within yourself to be able to express to someone what you need for healing. So for me, the kind of Jeff taking care of things for me is very healing, because I tend to be an island sort of person where I just take care of it, the parentified child, all that kind of stuff. And so me being able to have this idea of, I'm going to be brave and lead with love. I'm not going to live in fear and only take some of love's pleasures. I'm still going to go to this place that can be painful because I'm setting myself up for rejection, which, it's a small rejection if Jeff just says, I'm sorry, I can't feed the dog, I'm too busy, versus a bigger thing. But it's these little things, I think, that are really important too when you give someone opportunity. But you have to have that insight and that bravery to lead with love because you're taking a risk there.
Yeah. It's also letting go of control, isn't it?
It is, yeah, because I don't have control now. I mean, in this little example, I don't have control now of when the dog is fed.
Right. Oh, you don't have, because you are letting go of control, which is a scary thing, but you are allowing someone to take care of you. And that's, boost our interdependence, boost our estrogen, boost our, the intimacy between the two people. So, yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, and that's the key of living life with love versus fear and avoiding pain. Yeah. Because if I was, and the difference between being nice and being kind, kindness is not always saying yes. It's setting boundaries and it's asking for what you need. And niceness is all about doing everything for everyone else and not having expectations or needs of your own. And kindness is wholehearted living, and niceness is living to avoid pain and avoid loss. And I think that really speaks to what Kahlil Gibran is saying in the poem too.
Right. And all our experiences that actually, if you look at it, it's a reflection. We attract what we need, basically. So, maybe this experience with Jeff, it presents itself to uncover a part of healing that you may need, because we attract the people, the incidents onto our lives to mirror, to see what we may need healing at, or what we may need to think about or, advance. So maybe, if you look at things that way, like, okay, where is a lesson in here? You take a breather and go, okay, where is a lesson here? What can I learn? And then you can, it's very powerful when you think of that way, instead of everybody's out against to get me, nobody's out to get you, but things happen to you, maybe and open your eye up to some part of you that you can look at differently, or to heal yourself.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's compassion, that's loving to yourself, of yourself too.
Yeah. So leading with love, leading with compassion, leading with forgiveness.
Yeah.
We'll get to gratitude next, y'all, but yeah, I mean, it all brings you to releasing your own pain.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a journey. It's a journey of the self. People come to in our lives, at different times to guide us, on this self-discovery. I think it's, we don't live for others and others don't live for us, but they walk along the journey with us in different periods of our times to help us grow.
Yeah, just like Kahlil Gibran says, love possesses not, nor would it be possessed, for love is sufficient unto love.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And he also talked about gratitude at the end. If you have to put love, in a definition, you just, in the morning and noontime and night, just meditate on the ecstasy and also, give thanks to your beloved and, feel fulfilled that you actually feel the gratitude that, hey, in this life path, in my lifetime, I met the person, or, I have this experience of knowing what true love is, even if it's painful sometimes, but that's the experience that is so powerful. You have the gratitude for whatever happens, but you are led by love. That's your why, and that's your answer. That's everything, So, yeah.
So something cool about love in the heart that I've been learning about. So I'm participating in this really cool study that one of my podcast guests, Jen Hennessy, she was in the episode called Sexual Healing. I'm participating in a study with her, and she's using tenets of heart math. Are you familiar with heart math?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm learning about it, so I'm not super familiar. So I'm not not an expert in the least. But these are some things I'm learning around the power of the heart and leading with love versus even leading with cognition or anything else. Is that our heart, the electrical signals of our heart extend 8 feet from our body. And so that's what we experience when we experience other people's energy, is you're feeling the extension of the heart. And so when you're heart-centered versus brain-centered, I've been doing these activities that she's having me do in which I am focusing on breathing in and out of my heart. Mm-hmm. And I'm breathing in, I love you, and I'm breathing out whatever response there is to that. Mm-hmm. And so this is a meditation I've been doing in the morning, and it's really powerful because then you surround yourself with this energy of love, mm-hmm. and other people can feel that because you're surrounded by the love that you're putting out into the world and back into yourself. And and I know you're nodding your head because as both of us, yes, I imagine you do, and I
do that,
yeah,
just intuitively,
yeah. I mean, both of us being Reiki practitioners and everything. I mean, we know of this energy, but this was the science behind it, which I thought was really cool too. Is that And so any of our listeners that are wanting to delve deeper into this, you can look up heart math and look into it because there's a lot more under it. But I've been doing this work, and I've been in this journey of living wholeheartedly and doing these meditations that Amy, you've also been doing, I'm sure, for a long time. And it's just when you do that, and you are flooding your own body with oxytocin doing that.
Yes, it is.
And it's really amazing to know the power of self-love. And mm-hmm. that is something that I think is the hardest kind of love to have. You were bringing that up earlier. And it's so powerful to know that I can give this to myself, that we can give this love to ourselves.
Yeah, it's even though I didn't know the heart math, but the way I thought of it, it's how I thought during my meditation or during breathing is that, you know how in the Genesis it says, basically you have this body, but God breathes on you and now you are alive, right? So I feel that my breath is divine. I feel that when I breathe in, God is breathing the life force into me. So, and that love is unconditional, that love is abundant, that love is just expansive. So when I breathe through my heart and I say, and I feel God breathing, or divine or universe breathing that unconditional love into my heart. And I breathe out gratitude. So that's the way, I feel. And yeah, you're right. Basically we are healers. We can heal ourselves. We can heal our own heart. Everybody have difficult experiences, very different, even though very different from childhood or whatever. But, I think the universal love, if you go on nature, you see all that love is abundant, and all that. If you feel that and you can go, okay, well, I'm just as special as that little flower, I'm just special as, the clouds or the sun, I am good. I'm special. And God breathed the life force into me. And, I treasure myself as a divine being that I am.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's another exercise that is about love and compassion as well that I really love. And you probably know this one already too, but I don't know. We'll see. But so it's, and I've heard this a few different places. I've also heard Emily Nagoski talk about it. And it's to be able to, when you feel something that's distressing, to be able to put your hand over your heart and say, that really hurts, or whatever your heart is desiring to hear most, and that's different for everybody. Because our internal self-talk tends to, when we're hurt, tends to be things like, get over it, it's not that big of a deal. And a lot of the coping mechanisms we've learned to have to get along in the world. And so I think it's really powerful to take pause when you feel hurt and give yourself that love, that compassion. Put your hand physically over your heart and say, that really hurt. Or even thinking more deeply, what does my heart need to hear most? Maybe that is, you are worthy of love, or you matter, whatever it is. To have a practice of doing that, because that heals your heart on a very deep level as well.
Yes, for sure. I agree with that. And as Reiki practitioners, we do that. So the other thing that I just start to understand is that a lot of times we have dissociation about our own body. For instance, this came about when I was, having something like really spicy, eating something really spicy. It hurt my throat. And then, before I'm like, oh, okay, it's my body, you don't think about isolating respect different organ of yourself, because, our body, a lot of times we think it belongs to us, and it's a whole, and we don't think much about it. And then I hear this, my throat is complaining to me that I didn't take care of her. And I said, okay, it kind of get me thinking that when you were talking about your heart, your throat, your, sacral chakra, or your, your womb after you have baby, and a lot of times it's good to put our left hand on the part of the body that's, I think, in pain, and acknowledge and say, hey, I really appreciate all the work you have done, and I'm sorry you're in pain, and you can do the Ho'oponopono to your each organ. Like this morning I said to my throat, I'm like, okay, well, I'm really sorry that I hurt you, and please forgive me that I did not take care of you, and I love you and appreciate you. And you can do that to your body parts. And that's powerful, because it's like, okay, you're respecting your body. You are appreciating how hard they're working for you to keep you healthy. And during this, pandemic, I think that's very important. I think it'll increase our immune system too. Just acknowledge, there is a system, there's so many parts as a whole that's working for us, and appreciate, the miracle of our being, our body system, of our mind, our thoughts, and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking of the book, The Body Keeps the Score, which is a wonderful book on what our bodies hold, and allowing your body to release the pain that it's holding, and giving it the love, the compassion.
Yeah. When we do that, only when we do that, we can give to others. Because, like I said, if you can't even take care of yourself, how can you share that with others, right?
Yeah, and thinking about our bodies, a lot of us have had experiences, some more severe than others, in our lives, of our bodies not being respected and our bodies not being our own, even if it's from small things of your parents, like getting their spit and wiping stuff off your face, or, those kind of things. But there was not consent around that, and things like that. And those little things can build up, and your body can internalize those kinds of things, all the way to very traumatic experiences around violation of the body. And so I think that being able to talk about love of your body as part of love is extremely important, because a lot of us feel really safe to try to stay in our heads and our thoughts and all of this kind of stuff, because sometimes it feels painful to be in the body. But going back to that idea of that, there is some pain associated with love, because that is the growth that you're experiencing from the love. And so that even if something is really uncomfortable, it's not to be avoided. And that discomfort tells you that you're growing, and you're growing through that love, versus avoiding the discomfort and not growing because of fear.
Right. And you need to just be very compassionate to yourself when you are in pain, like what you said, you recognize it's the growing pain, but you need to acknowledge that pain and, be compassionate to yourself. Right. I have another exercise, I can share. So it goes somewhat with the Qigong thing, and also the, basically it's grounding, I think. But when you ground, you take your shoes off, you stand in a lush grass, or, somewhere really nice on the lawn, or wherever you feel most loved and cared for. So the basic idea is that Earth is our mother, right? And the power of the Earth is it's very containing, it's very allowing, it's very accepting. So, you can give it manure, it'll turn into nutrition for flower, right? It can transmute energy. So what it's actually the last posture for the 8 brocade healthy Qigong, which I'm working on sharing on my YouTube. Basically what you do is you lift your heel up, and you imagine you shake out whatever negativity, and then you lower your heel and feel that negativity flow through your feet into Earth Mother, where it's transmuted to love. So any almost like negativity, any of the impaired, we talk about, impaired electrons and cause, all that. So anything impaired, that anything needs healing, shake it and run through your feet into Mother Earth and say, hey, thank you for transmute this into, or change this, or transform this into energy of love, and I release and let it go. So that is actually very healing for the body, and it takes a lot of, stress out, and I think at a cellular level, it improves our immunity and, our love for the self.
That's wonderful. I love that. I love grounding exercises. Yeah. And especially right now during this time that feels uncertain and so ungrounded, being able to connect with the earth is just so soothing. It's just soothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure. It's, it's the universe is all about love, right? And so you can feel the love from the warm sunshine on your face. You can feel the support and love when you are grounding, and feel the Mother Earth through you. And you can feel love in nature, and then you can expand to, others as well. So like what I said before, sometimes instead of compartmentalize, let it flow from one compartment to the other, and see how that works, and it's just the ocean of love, I guess.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the ocean is, all of these symbols of nature are all about love. That is the most powerful energy there is out there. Like I think about people who are wanting to create change in the world, and so you see people who lead from anger and from rage, and then you see leaders who lead through love. And I find that leading through love is so much more powerful. Someone was bringing up different leaders, and sort of the evolution of leading through hate versus leading through love, and was comparing Hitler to Martin Luther King.
Oh.
You know, I mean, so if you think of Hitler leading through fear and through hate, creating this horrible situation in the world and some of the worst, painful, awful things to do to humans, versus someone who's leading through love, who creates real change.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I mean, it's powerful beyond words. It's just, you see the difference in the energy there.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So Amy, I would love to talk to you all day about this, but I guess we're needing to wrap up. And but you talked about your YouTube channel, so please let our listeners know where they can hear more from you, because as much as I don't want to stop this conversation, they may not either. So they can hear more from you at.
It's very interesting. So my Chinese name is Wei, WEI, and a lot of times, people don't know how to pronounce it. So I have to tell them it's Wei, sounds like WAY. And when I come to the States, my ESL teacher, who is my almost like second mother, and she gave me the name Amy, which means beloved. So the other day, our Reiki teacher, Jana, we were talking about my name, and she's like, oh, that's kind of cool that, beloved Wei. So I really love that, because I think that's my path to share my knowledge on the beloved way. So I changed my YouTube handle to beloved way, beloved WAY. So I want to share, I'm doing a, Qigong, health Qigong series, and I'm trying to do a lot more reading, such as the one that I just read, the poem, and things that I found useful and loving. And so I'm trying to put on there. So, I hope to be able to have it up and see you guys there.
Okay. And probably by the time this is released, it will be up. So look up Beloved Way.
Yes.
And thank you, Amy. We have one more in this series, and then I'm sure we'll find other things to talk about. So I'm sure you'll see Amy on Make More Love, Not War again after this. But so our next talk will be about gratitude. Yes. So stay tuned for that. And I have so much gratitude for this connection that you and I have together, Amy, and I appreciate you so much for being here today.
I appreciate you too. Thank you, Terah.